Unit 29. Essence and Inevitability of Making the World Independent. This lesson is on the essence and inevitability of making the world independent clarified by the Juche idea. The Juche idea clarifies that it is imperative to make the whole world independent in order to realize the popular masses' independence on the worldwide scale. The respected comrade Kim Jong-un said, "An independent world is one free from domination and subordination, aggression and intervention, where sovereignty and equality for all countries and nations are guaranteed." Making the whole world independent is, first of all, to build a world which is free from domination and subjugation, intervention and pressure between countries and nations, and where independence for all countries and nations is guaranteed. An independent world is the one free from domination and subjugation, intervention and pressure between countries and nations. Today, imperialist and dominationist forces infringe upon the independence of other countries and nations in the world. Imperialism, born with aggression and plunder, has grown fat on aggression and plunder. There is no limit in its ambition and greed. Therefore, the imperialist moves of invading and plundering other countries get more tenacious and oppressive as days go by. Aggression and war will continue, and independence of the countries and nations cannot be realized as long as there exists imperialism. Dominationism is a reactionary force that tramples down the independence of other countries and oppresses and controls other nations and people. Dominationism prevails both in big and small countries, in capitalist countries and in rest of the countries. It is dominationism that infringes upon the independence of other countries and oppresses and controls other nations and peoples, irrespective of size in territory and population, development level and social system. There are both an overt form of dominationism to openly invade other countries and nations to infringe upon their independence in demonstrative ways, and a hidden form of dominationism to bring other countries and nations under the yoke of domination to control them politically and economically. Domination and subjugation, intervention and pressure over other countries and nations are the reactionary acts contrary to the independent aspiration and demand of mankind, no matter what forms they may assume. Only when domination and subjugation, intervention and pressure of the imperialist and dominationist forces are thoroughly frustrated, all countries and nations can be free from domination and subjugation of outside forces and realize their independence and dynamically wage the struggle to make the whole world independent. The struggle against domination and subjugation, intervention and pressure is to make the imperialists and dominationists give up their ideas and policies against other countries and nations and remove all conditions and possibilities for their end. That all countries and nations do not follow the imperialists and dominationists but thoroughly adhere to independence is to remove every condition and possibility of realizing their policy to dominate other countries and nations. If then their policy of dominating other countries and nations cannot work, no matter what means and methods they may resort to. An independent world is a world where the independence of all countries and nations realize independence as masters of their own destiny. Abolishing domination and subjugation does not mean the complete realization of independence of a country and nation. If the domination and subjugation of countries and nations is abolished, it will be a big progress in realizing their independence. But it is a prerequisite for realizing the independence. Independence can be fully realized only when a country and nation achieve national independence, free from foreign domination and intervention, and exercise its substantial independent rights in all fields of politics, economy, military, and culture. The whole world can be independent only when all countries and nations firmly adhere to an independent stand in politics and build self-supporting economy and self-reliant defense to exercise fully their sovereignty in all fields. Making the world independent is also to build a world where sovereignty and equality for all countries and nations are guaranteed. All countries and nations have the independent and equal rights as the equal members of the international community, irrespective of the size and territory and population and the level of development. However, there are still in the world the unequal international relations and the old international order of domination and subjugation, intervention and pressure that justify privilege and high-handedness of the imperialists and dominationist forces, and that infringe upon the independence and equality of small and less developed countries. The unequal international relations and the old international order of domination and subjugation should be removed, and the just and fair international relations and a new international order based on independence, the life and soul of a country and nation be established. Only then can sovereignty and equality for all countries and nations be guaranteed. The struggle to make the world independent is to build a world where sovereignty and equality for all countries and nations are guaranteed by breaking the unequal international relations and all international order and establishing a new and just one based on independence. Making the whole world independent assumes inevitability as it is the common aspiration of the progressive people and the lawful requirement to pave a broad avenue to realize complete independence of the popular masses throughout the world. It is the common aspiration of the progressive people to make the whole world independent. This is the era of independence. Opposing all sorts of domination and subjugation and advancing along the road of independence is a unanimous desire of the people in all countries that advocate independence and the main trend of our era. The imperialist colonial system collapsed by the world people's struggle for independence. However, the old order of domination and subjugation, intervention and pressure remains still in the international arena. The imperialists and dominationists move desperately to maintain and extend their supremacy. Sovereignty of countries and nations is infringed upon and wars and disputes continue ceaselessly in several countries due to aggression and intervention of the imperialist and dominationist forces. The progressive people who value sovereignty and dignity of their country and nation never tolerate arbitrariness and high-handedness, intervention and infringement of sovereignty by the imperialist and dominationist forces. They actively turn out in the struggle to defend sovereignty of countries and nations and make the whole world independent. Making the whole world independent is a lawful requirement to pave a broad avenue for realizing the complete independence of the popular masses on the worldwide scale. In order to realize the people's independence, independence of a country and nation should be realized. In order to secure independence of the country and nation, an independent world should be built. An independent world provides international background favorable to the independent development of all countries and nations. If the world is made independent, wars that bring about huge sacrifice and damage will be prevented and durable peace be secured in the world, all sorts of inequality be eliminated among the countries and nations, and the relations of unity and cooperation be established on the basis of the principle of mutual respect, equality, and mutual benefit. As a result, all countries will build an independent and prospering new society suited to ideal and desire of their people and realize complete independence of the popular masses. This tells that it is necessary to make the whole world independent in order to realize complete independence of the popular masses on a worldwide scale. Thank you so much for this lesson.